everyone and welcome back to another video. It's been a while, but today we are going to be making a plate rack and a miniature set of plates for said plate rack, and this is where I'm hoping to place it in my little miniature kitchen. So I hope this video will give you some tips and tricks on how to create some realistic plates for your miniature projects. Yes, we do have a pig in the kitchen. He's just making breakfast. It's not a bacon sandwich, so nothing to worry about there. But today in this video I'm going to show you how I make these plates, and I hope it's helpful to you. So first things first is you're going to have to get yourself some air dry clay for this project. If you want to make it a lot easier on yourself, I would recommend purchasing some white air dry clay, just so you don't have to paint the plates that colour. It saves a lot of time. So the first thing you're going to do is just roll it out to about a thickness of about a pound coin. You can go thinner, but I think with these techniques it's slightly better to have a little bit more of a thickness, just so you can correct some mistakes. So this first technique I was playing with was creating some cutouts in cardboard, the size of the plates that I want, to create this kind of indentation that gives the effect of a plate and the dip that you get in the plate. So I'm just kind of rubbing that there to give the impression, and when you lift it off you will get a shape. Now I didn't cut these out perfectly circular, so the dip on it is not going to be amazing, but you can correct this afterwards with a little bit of moulding and a paintbrush. So to finish this little technique off, I'm going to just trim around the edge to create the lip of the plate. And you can do this fairly messy, try to be as circular and neat as possible, but all of this can be corrected afterwards. So you can smooth the edges with your finger and a little bit of water, and trim off any excess to make it a lot more rounder. You can correct and mould that plate and leave as is, but I'm going to keep on adding with these techniques to show you different ways of going about this. So grab yourself some buttons, find your sewing box and find some buttons that are the same size as the plates that you want to make. As you can see, they're kind of like the perfect size to create a good template, and if you've got ones with flat sides, that's even better. These can then be used inside that plate mold that you've just made as just to make an impression, basically. So yeah, you can just push them down. You can also fill the holes or just go over with a little bit of tape just to help that little buttonholes sticking, but as you can see you can just cut them off really easily, and you can create that dip that's the perfect size for your plate. I use a flat one with no holes. That is also pretty good, and again I'm just trimming around the edges to make it neater. Similar to the cardboard technique, you can also use the button directly as a mould and then just trim round like you would a pie crust. That can create a more easier effect if you don't want to do the cardboard thing or it's not working out as good for you. If you don't have buttons, you can use various things. I've got thimbles and bottle caps and all sorts of things you can use as a mould to get that perfect circular shape, as it's quite hard to find really small perfect circle things. So raid your sewing box, you're bound to find something in there. So the next technique I'm going to do is pretty much the simplest and I think most effective, is just to cut a circle and trim around. Make an impression with either a button or a small circular thing with a flat edge on it to create that nice indentation, and then just correct and mould to create a lovely little plate. This is the easiest. I trialed a few here so you can get an idea of the process that I went through and how certain things work. Maybe it'll help you come up with your own ideas too, or improvements possibly to this tutorial. Again, here just using the button as a template and using another one on top to kind of press in as a mould, and then you just free it from the base and correct it with a bit of moulding with a brush, and that can kind of also create the divot on the opposite side as well. So yeah, once you've got a few plates, no matter what technique you're going for, you're going to want to sand them down because they probably will turn out a little bit rough using some of these techniques. So to remedy that, just get yourself a brush and water or some smoothing tools and just smooth away until you've got some decent looking plates. There's still going to be another level of correction here through sanding, so don't worry if they're still a little bit scruffy looking. So once they have dried, they're going to turn this light grey colour. If you have the white clay, they should stay beautiful and white. But now we are going to sand them down just to get rid of any of that surface roughness, so when we paint them, it'll be a lot more smoother for the end result. So I'm just smoothing the edges to create more roundness and the tops and bottoms just to create a really nice smooth finish. As you can see, they're a lot more flat and even now. So for me, I had to paint these white, which took a little while, so really would recommend getting that white clay as it's a hell of a lot easier. This took about 2 coats with this particular paint, but of course you don't have to paint white. You can do whatever colour plate you would like, get creative and have a look at some designs online for your inspiration. So after painting, it's time to design them. For my designs, I'm going to be using gel nail polish, which is cured via UV light. I've chosen this dark blue and I'm going to use a tiny little brush and top them with top coat, which will act like a clear varnish, which mimics the glaze effect on pottery. I also did a trial run with covering bare clay with nail polish, white nail polish, and doing then the detail and then the top coat over the top. It did work and hardened very nicely, but it did seem to lose the detail in the plate, and yeah, it was just a bit too thick. So I would recommend either going in with acrylic paint on top of this and finishing with a varnish if you don't have any nail polishes, or just go in with this nail polish, gel polish, which will dry under the light and make it super hard and durable. So I have been inspired by the Dollhouse pottery, which is lovely blue and white designs that are inspired by chinoiserie kind of styles and just lovely vintage pottery. So that's where I'm going with these. So I'm kind of trying to create intricate designs with floral elements, and I'll show you them all up close at the end of the video. And once they were all painted, I'm just going to cure them in this nail lamp. You can also get much cheaper nail lamps than this big one, which is a little bit big for this project. So I just finished with the top coat over the top and then cured that so it fully set and is no longer sticky anymore. And then I just repeated that on the opposite sides as well, so we have our finished plates. Now stick around for the finished results of that in a minute, but before that I'm going to make the plate rack that will accompany the plates. So of course I'm using popsicle sticks and cocktail sticks. I also have a new tool which is a pin vise, I believe, which is like a small handheld drill and is going to be super useful for this project. So my plan is to make a sort of 2-tier plate rack that is wall mounted, and will have the little cocktail sticks as holders for the plate going in between. So the first thing is making my paper template and just making the frame to go around, which I will be gluing together with some hot glue. And then I decided to make some holes to place the little cocktail stick parts in. Now this is not the most best technique, as I soon found out. I had made little holes all along and planned to pop them in together, but unless you're extremely accurate, by the time you go to assemble all the little tiny pieces together, it just doesn't line up and it looks wonky and the whole thing is out of line. So avoid my mistake and do it this way, where you stack your pieces up together and drill directly down all 3 of them at the same time. Then you can shove that cocktail stick all the way up through, as you can see here, and they will all stay in line nice and perfect. That's the way I learned to do it, and I also figured out you can use nail clippers, nail clippers, to trim all these bits off really easily. So great little tip I've learned there. And I also can use them for flat pieces too. So after that is all finished, I just put a little bit of moulding on the top here, just to give it a little more fancy look, and we are done. So that is my plate rack all sorted. Not sure whether to put it there or on the other side. Probably put it there. Let me know what you think. Another little tip before you make your plates to fit your plate rack: measure the circle that you're going to need using your plate rack. I made mine first, so this is how I did it. And just make a little circle, and then you can compare with buttons and other things that are lying around your house in circle form. That will be perfect for the template, or just make a paper template, really doesn't matter. Or just find buttons that fit your plate rack and then use them as the templates, easy peasy. So are you ready to see the finished plates and plate rack all together? Of course you are. So here they are. I am so happy with how these plates turned out. They have a real handmade quality. They're not completely perfectly circular, and that's what I love about some miniatures. I tried my best making some really cute little vintage designs. You might recognize this one that I'm holding. And I love how these turned out. If this video is helpful to you, give it a like and subscribe, and if you want to see more tutorials on miniatures, you've found the right YouTube channel. And if you're looking for any other miniature tutorials, let me know what you'd like to see. The next one we might be doing a sofa or some chairs, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!